really innovative solutions to tackle urban problems. So we do not work alone, obviously. Well, for my class, I won't get into too much, but these are some of the topics that we're currently going underway. So for example, smart government, the lead for this particular topic is Goyang City. It's a city in Korea. It's a satellite city of Seoul. I think it's around 800, about 1 million people. And they lead this, we call it cluster, and there's some companies under it and other cities too. And cities have been sharing knowledge, and I think they're doing some joint projects together. So we're kind of a platform to help cities kind of come together, and companies too, and work on more sustainable cities. Another thing we do is, like I said, we do a lot of knowledge sharing. Knowledge is extremely important, because if you don't have the knowledge, you won't exactly know, well, how do I solve this problem? So what we do is we have something called a Smart Sustainable City Projects Catalog. What this is a collection of best practice smart city cases from around the world. So we might have some project cases of London, Paris, Seoul, things like that, and we have it in a kind of we have it in offline form, but it's mostly online. So if maybe there's a city official that wants to do something on waste management, they'll go to this website, there's categories, they click it, they see other cities that have done it, and they could, through us, contact that city. And be like, oh, how did you do this? Which company did you use? What are some of your challenges? Oh, come on over, help me, things like that. So knowledge sharing is very important, but also it's for the people. And also I learn a lot too. I get to see what London's did, what Jakarta did, things like that. It's quite impressive. So yeah, so this is kind of knowledge sharing, because you guys are students. Knowledge is very important, right? Yes. Okay. So we work with partners, like I said, because we can't do everything alone. So we work with many partners. Maybe you recognize some of these. I'm sure you recognize the World Bank. Well, everyone knows them. Like I said, for them, what we do is we get a lot of funding from them. So maybe we do some feasibility pilot project in a city, but the city might not have the money to go full-wide implementation. Then since we did the project proof of concept, we approached the World Bank, so we have a close relation. So you give them all the documents, all the data, they look over it, and generally they give us the funding. Because World Bank, they want to fund successful cases too. So we provide them with that. And with their funding, we implement it, we help the citizens, and it's a win-win situation. Do you guys know this one? Yes, good.
Asian Development Bank.
Similar to the World Bank, they give us a lot of funding, but for them, they give us a little bit more of a technical expertise. Mm-hmm. Yes, they give us funding too, but a bit more technical expertise. So we also work with US, things like that, open government commerce. ITU, maybe you guys know, because you're IT people. It's called the International Telecommunication Union. It's an arm of the UN. They do a lot of IT stuff, like standardization. Maybe if people want to use the internet, you need to be standardized, like TCP/IP, things like that. They would work on that. But they do many other things. So we do a lot of things with them, like conferences, exhibitions, projects, things like that. So like I said, we don't have everything. So we do work with a lot of people. This is just some of them. There's a lot more. So we work with a lot of UN organizations too. This is just to show you, like the UN's an international organization. We also have a General Assembly. I think UN meets once a year, General Assembly. All presidents, come and make speeches, all that. Trump made that speech about Rocket Man there, I think. Maybe you guys heard of that, right? Yeah, so we do have a General Assembly, but unlike the UN, we don't meet once a year, because that's just too much. So we meet once in 3 years. So this one we did in 2017. I'm sure you met this man, right? Yes. He is the president of our organization, so he's the head. So obviously he comes and does many things. I work with him closely. We did some press conferences, things like that. This one, he gave out awards. It's something called the Legal Smart Sustainable City Awards. We collect the applications from cities and we give awards, first, second, third, to cities that have done amazing smart city stuff. So a lot of people came, basically. Many mayors, from many city leaders, etc., etc. It was very successful. We held it in Russia, in the Urinos region. It's about an hour's flight from Moscow. It was quite successful. The mayor enjoyed it. He was kind of the star. because he's the president. Other mayors come, oh, can we do this with you? Can we do that with you? Can I take selfies? That was a classic. Like, I thought it's like an Asian thing, right? You know, like selfies, Korean Asian thing, but like these, like, no offense, like this guy's from Istanbul. There's a lot of African people like, oh, let's take selfies. That was kind of surprising. So I guess selfies are kind of universal. So, yep, so there's that. Yes, I guess I won't go through this too much, but we do, one of the things we do is we promote our member cities as well, because we want other people to know some of the amazing best practice smart cities they've done. I guess I won't go through it too much. Jakarta, who's from Jakarta here? Okay, there you go. Do you know about a solution called Clue? If you don't know, that's okay, but...
Probably made it when I'm already here.
Okay, oh, actually,
Because I'm studying here.
oh, okay, you've been studying for a long time. Yes, it's similar to our in-house solution called the Civic Participation System. Basically, it's a complaint management system. So, like I said, there's a pothole. You download this app, you know, do all the, you know, take the photo, all that stuff, send it, and they'll fix it for you. It's been extremely successful. They've had 1,112 data sets. That's not 1,112 complaints. That's separate data sets, which is huge. Yes, so it's been very successful, and citizens kind of love this program because, or this app, because it kind of gives you a voice. You know, if something's wrong, you complain, and there's a record of it. So the city official can't be like, oh, I'm lazy, I don't want to do it, because people will find out. Very, very successful. Jakarta is one of the actually leading smart cities in Asia, actually, surprisingly, especially because like they're very eager to do smart city. I think there was a new governor so recently, you guys would know, yes. But this app, it gives you a voice. There's something wrong. Maybe your neighborhood swimming pool is really nasty and filthy. Take a picture of that, write about it, send it. Within 72 hours, generally, it's responded. I don't think the city official will be like, oh, I don't want to care, because, you know, I don't know. They'll actually take care of it, because people are watching. And that transparency, it's very big, so it's a successful case, but yes, I guess if they don't use it as much, that's kind of sad. Okay, so we'll move on. Taipei, anyone from Taipei? Taipei's not ASEAN, are they?
No.
They're kind of iffy. Taipei is always kind of, Taiwan's kind of, but anyways, no, they're great countries, you know, their status due to China and whatnot, that's kind of, but I would say, if I had to rank smart cities, Taipei would be in top 10 for sure. Like Hong Kong, all like Seoul, they're there, but for sure top 10. They have an entire project management office called Taipei Smart City Project Management Office. They've it's like an entire department. It's huge. Surprisingly, SMG or Seoul Metropolitan Government, we don't exactly have a smart city department. We have an information planning division that does smart city stuff, but they're not a smart city department, and that's where we kind of come in, but it's still limited. But Taipei, they're very, very advanced. They have something called a living lab. What this is for example, they could designate maybe, let's say, this area, and they would test out all the new cool smart technologies in here. It could be things like wireless charging at a distance. Have you heard of this before? But then that name is kind of obvious, wireless charging at a distance. For example, you have your smartphones, right? Everyone's always like, smartphones are very, very power hungry. So many of you might look for power outlets, or at the most, have those power banks or external batteries, right? There's a technology where you could actually charge your phone, not just on a pad wirelessly, but in terms of, for example, like 20 feet, 30 feet away, if there's an API over there, you'll charge everything here, for example. I think it's based on Qi platform, but anyways, they're testing out those kind of technology. That would be amazing. Your phone's being charged now, imagine that. Yes, we're getting there. It's not exactly there yet. The technology's there, but the regulation is not. For example, like, do you remember like 20, maybe you guys are too young, but let's say 10 years ago, oh my God, phones will give you cancer if you call like on your head, you know, things like that. There's many health and political aspects of technology, and although wireless charging at a distance, it's very useful. It'll charge laptops, things like that too. There's still political and regulatory hurdles they need to go through. That's where they're testing it out here. Not so much just for the technology, but for the regulation as well. So test it out for a year. They want to make sure no one gets cancer, no one gets headaches, things like that. Because, you know, wireless charging, it's still like, oh, it's based on radio wavelengths.
Yes.
So, that might have some
Yes.
impact on health. So they have to do those things. So, anyways, Taipei is really famous. Helsinki, you guys know Helsinki. Where's Helsinki? Great. They're another great smart city as well. I guess I won't go through this too much, but they also do living labs and all these things, so I'll skip that. So, this is me. This is me doing smart city stuff around the world. The conclusion is smart city technology, all that stuff is great, solving urban issues, but it's still people-centered. People need to do this. There's a technology we need to check if it impacts their health, regulation, politics. It's still all about the people. This is Istanbul. This is doing like an MOU with the vice mayor of Seoul and Istanbul. This guy is the mayor of Brisbane. Do you know Brisbane? Where's Brisbane?
Australia.
Good. Yes, Australia. So we do a lot of things. I talked about public
I don't know.
transportation here.
Geography.
So what I do is I do go around a lot and do a lot of knowledge sharing as well, and also implementation of actual smart city projects. And like I said, actually making a difference somewhat really is rewarding for me. So this job has been probably one of the best, I think. And I've had a lot of jobs. I worked in the Ministry of Health and Welfare. I worked in international organizations like UNESCO, things like that. They're great too. But the best part here is it gives me a lot of actual power to see tangible results. Like the actual, I see that I'm saving this much money, these many people's lives, etc., etc. And that's really, really rewarding for me. So, that's kind of it. So I want to kind of now give the floor to you guys. What are some of your urban challenges? These are some examples I put, but maybe you guys talk about it, and maybe I could resolve it for you.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk to your mayor. And, give me the contact, for example. And I can resolve these for you. What are some of your urban
Mostly.
challenges?
Mostly.
Traffic, yes.
Waste.
That's a very, very tough one because most people would think, we have to enlarge the roads, but that's not possible because you can't just demolish buildings. So there is one solution. This type of traffic, it's almost impossible to fix. But there are ways though. But in terms of public transportation, there are ways to fix. Our organization and SMG, we did a pilot project on.
Come on, there are cities.
Do you know? I think you guys know Geographical Information System (GIS). For example, in bus stops in Seoul and probably your cities too, there's an actual LED panel that tells you when the bus is going to come. Geographic Information System, amazing. I'm sure many of your cities probably have that. That's great. But Seoul, and we went beyond this. We put something called occupancy rate. What that means is not only it tells you when it's coming, it tells you how full this, for example, bus is. Now, if you think about it in the short term, this is great because if you think about it, it helps the elderly, the disabled, the pregnant, or some physically challenged person who might not be able to take a really full bus, or they might need a seat. That is great policy, but that's not enough. The reason we implemented this policy, the pilot's done, it's almost fully implemented, is because in a huge metropolis like Seoul, and maybe like Jakarta, for example, there's multiple methods to go about your actual transportation. Bus, the main is bus and subway, of course, right? But this is the thing. Maybe, time's up? Okay. Okay, you know what? I'll skip this, okay?
Just
There's
keep going.
problems. There's one thing I wanted to do. I actually wanted to make it more interactive, so I brought some prizes.
Yeah.
But I can't give them out for free, right? So
Yeah.
I'll ask you some questions. Number one, how many members does Rigo have? Do you guys remember? Okay, 1 through 6, okay. She goes first. I'll give you a prize. It's, here you go. I guess you could open it. You could show people what this is.
Number
It's
six.
actually an external battery.
Yeah.
But since we're an IT organization, yes, there you go. Okay, you already have one. Is that the same one? Yes, that.
I might be reading yes, yes.
Oh, that's true. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I guess she knows me already. Yes, so it's an external battery. But since we're an IT organization, it's not just an external battery. It has a USB Type-C as well. So, okay. Number 2. Who is the highest authority in Rigo?
So,
Anya.
No, the person. You could go. Yeah.
Me?
Or other no, yes, yes.
The mayor also.
Okay, there you go, Mayor Soul. That's another prize for you. Here's I guess a post-it. There you go. There's a post-it. Okay, and number 3. What are the 6 pillars of a smart, sustainable city? Do you guys remember?
Yeah,
Go
smart
ahead.
city, smart boss people.
Economy, living, mobility, and environment.
It's all in the book.
We should get them all. There's one more. Smart starts with an E. Smart.
Economy.
Okay, good. Smart economy.
It's all in.
Let's
It's
see,
all in the
I'll
book.
give you a-
Is it fair?
we
What
still
about
got
me?
it as well. One more.
What
We
about-
have one more prize. So there you go. Thank you. And name at least 4 of WeGo's programs. I mentioned some of them. Yep. Go ahead.
UN KPI for sustainable
Okay.
city, conferences and meetings.
Okay.
We have also sustainable city projects catalog,
Okay.
and sustainable online articles.
Okay. Great. There you go. So the
Okay.
last prize is actually a passport holder.
Wow.
It's actually quite pretty. So yes, maybe you could show it off.
Oh my god!
Yes, you could open it and show it off. I like the color actually. Yes, sir. Wow, you could open it too. If you have your passport now, you can put it
I
in
saw
there.
you here.
Yes. So there you go. I guess we did run out of time. So thank you for your
Thank you.
attention.